So you're the Dark Eldar?
My name is HornScorn's, and I am the Archon of the Dark Eldar, specifically the Iron Thorns. Long name for the Lords of the Iron Thorns. That's short for Iron Thorns. I am more or less the Archon. I basically am the leader of my own cabal. My task is basically more or less to just employ men into high worlds and basically start raiding people and taking them back to Kamara. Our faction is all about a glass cannon faction. So we do have like the Kabalites in order to balance things out from the more heavier infantry. But mainly the force is more of a glass cannon. We are fast, we're able to move around and start like doing hit and run tactics at the cost of a low health pool. I cannot be a warlord, so I'm more or less gonna be a commander at all times. So I picked this faction because I thought I wanted to see how it could go for a faction that no one has basically picked it up. I have more or less seen a lot of Space Marine groups that have taken the role of Space Marines. But as soon as I've been around for many Space Marines, I decided maybe I could probably go for a different outlier. Maybe something that I feel like as though I have not seen before, which is the Eldar. There's rarely any groups that are going to be running for Eldar, so I decided why not take it? And here I am, obsessing over that. At first, I did not. I was always wanted to be an avatar creator to help out with any person who wants to be doing Eldar. However, I don't think I feel as though nobody has taken the charm to start leading the Yukari or Eldar in general. So I decided to throw myself into the leading role. And well, at first it was not a really easy task, but as soon as I started to get over with how leading goes, over time, started to both enjoy it and more or less just started respecting the roles that people have taken as a leader. As of now, I've already been leading this group for more than a year now. My leading style is more akin to, a leader type in a sense that it's not a military-esque, because I really hate to hit upon the kind of military stuff. I don't really like to dwell into more phases where it's like, this guy didn't do like the exact same thing I said, I'm out, so make him do push-ups. No. The main thing that I wanted to focus on is more akin to basically teach them how to shoot, teach them how to kill, and more or less how the game modes work. I don't really so I more or less just do it for the fun of it. But I always want to have order around the group, so I always want to have people like to listen so we can get things to roll with. Have fun in a sense, not have the group break down and all that. It's a mix of things. I've been around with groups that have been pretty cool. Many things, I guess it could be better, but at the same time, most of the time, it's chill. But at the same time, there's always going to be some people that you have to take care of. It's a mix of things. You always tend to see a lot of those in the community, so it's more or less a mix of things. Approximately about 2 years now. Yes, so the first thing you want to do is to try to see how leaders to enact their way of leading, and basically try to see how you're able to work it around to make your own group. The second thing is to try to have communication with people who know how to do avatars, or basically communicate with people who know how to grab avatars. But they have to be more consensual, because there's some groups that really do not want to have their avatars spread around. Some do, some don't. That's why communication is important in order to get groups going without having the hassle of asking people why they're having their avatars. Another thing to note is to have things scheduled. You can't, if you want to plan things around in the future, you want to have some things you want to have to pinpoint some things to start. Let's say Monday, you cannot do things because of IRLs. You may want to have that as no events. It's best to have your members informed about when let's say a war will happen, or when the trainings will happen, or when a trial will happen. The next step is to basically make your events interesting. Sure, but you can have your skirmish sets and your basic infections and your fun, like etc. etc. But you also want to have people to keep things interesting. You want to like throw in, let's say, a skirmish, but like this time you want to have them fight with swords, or you want to do an FFA, but this time it's something, you know. Last but not least is to take care of yourself. I always tend to tell my boys to always prioritize IRL over VRChat because, well, it is really nice to start to have these events to try to like teach train others. It's ultimately also you also need to like basically take account of yourself so that you can always like how to say? Yes, in a sense, I more or less will always promote people to like have to do things before you can do VRChat stuff. I don't really want to always do mandatory stuff. You always want to have people like try out things that have more fun instead of like pressuring them to always be in these events. That will like more demoralize people into going into trainings or wars. You always want to account for people's stuff whenever they're busy or they need to do something. That is basically my take on how you basically want to lead stuff.
Man of Pancakes. A while ago, my friends gave me a nickname Manny because they didn't want to say out my full username. I am currently the starting rank in the Drukari. I'm not gonna try to pronounce that. I joined yesterday. It's a pretty fun group so far. Yeah. Yesterday was my first event, so I've only been in it for about like 2 days. I used to be in an old group in 40k Uni, Craft World Uthway. It was run by Lilith. I can't pronounce the last part of their Lilith Serene. But yeah, it was really fun, and I had a lot more fun in it than Space Marine servers. So when I heard that there was another Eldar group, I was really excited to join it because Eldar, in my opinion, are a lot more fun to play than Space Marines. I mean, so far it's pretty fun. I really like the speed boost mixed with there it is. I really like the speed boost mixed with the splinter rifle. I'm a really big fan of the splinter rifle, mainly because I like using Eldar weapons. But yeah, it's pretty fun. It's a lot less strict than Space Marine groups, which I really like. I feel like there's a lot of people in it that I really like. I've run into a few people that have created avatars. Namely, I was in Drax Dark Angels for a bit. He was pretty cool. I mean, it's good and everything. I really think that the toxicity part of the Warhammer community is really prevalent. All in all, it's fun. I like seeing newer avatar creators, and a lot of the avatars are really fun. Also, PvP in of itself is really fun. So it's good, but it does have a lot of issues. I joined my first group about 2 years ago in December of 2022, almost 2 years. The first group I joined was a homebrew group called the Jotunheim, and I was in their group for a while until people stopped showing up and the group kind of fell through. They're still active today, but their avatar creator isn't making any more avatars for them, and their like Primarch, I guess, left the group a while ago, so they're starting to roll downhill, which is really sad because they were probably one of my favorite Space Marine groups. I'd say everyone wants to go for like Space Marines like first thing, like, oh, I want to be a big Space Marine. I did that and I did have a good experience, but a lot of people, I imagine, won't have a great experience with it because, they get recruited and they're thrown into these giant battles. So I'd say start with Guard, and then if you like Guard, see if you would enjoy Space Marines, and if you don't, you can try out the different Xenos races.
My name's VRChat, and I'm the big strong guy. I'm a Grotesque. I'd say a couple months, back in August. Well, I was mainly just extremely bored and I wanted to try something new. And this was the best option. It's very fun. Everyone is very nice. And I like killing a lot of people. Very fun. Since I started the Warhammer community a couple months ago, I'm pretty new to it and I don't really have an opinion on it, a proper one. So far, I'd say it's a pretty cool and fun community. Not long, a couple months ago, like I said. Either have connections with people who are in the community, or just go out there in a random Warhammer public. There's probably gonna be someone out there recruiting. There usually is.
Don't worry, I'll get you a fucking child to burn.